of elephant's footprint. Who has seen elephant in Singapore? You've seen it? Where? In a zoo. You got from Africa. Did you ask permission? Okay, so those who have seen an elephant, footprint is a very big footprint. And if you are to put any animal's foot, it will fit there completely in a footprint. Not at all at the same time, but one by one you blink, even a lion you put there, it will fit. So a footprint of a lion is the biggest one. It's very, very important. Now they are trying to compare the Buddha's teaching on a footprint of an elephant. But it seems that in this discourse, the bull elephant has a bigger one compared to the female one. So the way how the discourse unfolds, I'm not going to go one by one. I'm just going to pick up the gist of the discourse. Is that as we go through this teaching, you will find out that it's gradual in a way. It's starting from what is easy to train and going to what's very difficult to train. And they're trying to say here that the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, which is like the Buddha as well is awakened one, self-awakened, and the Dhamma is actually well expounded by the Buddha, which is good excellent in the beginning, excellent in the middle, and excellent in the end, and also the Sangha practicing well. So you can only say that with all the qualities of the Buddha you have repeated. I heard you repeating them. You can say only that when you have really understood the teaching of the Buddha, which is aimed at removing all the defilements. That means you practice the Noble Eightfold Path. The first Noble Truth, second Noble Truth, and the third Noble Truth, and the fourth Noble Truth. Once you practiced it, not only studying it in theory, but practicing it and realizing it and attaining full enlightenment, only then you can say that the Tathagata is self-awakened. So this is actually how the suttas laid down. So without wasting time, I'd like to go through 6 teachings that are given in the discourse here, starting with the virtue. That's where I'm going to start, because most of the background of the sutta you can read yourself. But explanation, I would like to start with virtue, number 11 in the sutta. This is how it says. So too, Brahmins, here is Tathagata appears in the world. He appears in the world, accomplished, fully enlightened, perfect in true knowledge and conduct, sublime, know of the worlds, incomparable leader of persons to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened, and of course blessed. He declares in this world with its gods, its Maras, and its Brahmans, this generation which with its recluses and Brahmins, its princes and its people, that's pretty much covers everybody there. With its recluses and Brahmins, its princes and its people, which he has himself realized with the direct knowledge. He teaches the Dhamma good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end, with the right meaning and phrasing, and he reveals a holy life that is utterly perfect and pure. So now, this is the beginning. Most of the suttas begin like that, to show you that the Buddha's teaching is excellent. In the beginning, which is morality, in the middle, which is samadhi, concentration, and the end, panya, is also excellent, which is wisdom. So we go to number 12. A householder or householder's son, or one born in some other clan, hears that Dhamma. On hearing the Dhamma, he acquires faith in the Tathagata. Possessing that faith, he considers thus: household life is crowded and dusty. Life gone forth is wide open. It's not easy while living in a home to lead the whole life utterly perfect and pure as polished shell. So this is a more actually points to the life of a monastic where they actually consider going forth. But that's not what you're going to do. So what we are going to do is actually focus on the ethical conduct. And that's where I'm going now, number 13. Having thus gone forth and possessing the bhikkhus training and the way of life, abandon the killing of living beings. He abstains from killing living beings with a rod and weapon laid aside, conscientious, merciful. He abides, or she abides, compassionate to all living beings. Abandon the taking of what's not given, and absence from taking what is not given. Taking only what's given, expecting only what's given. By not stealing, he abides in purity. And of course, this precept here is of a monastic abandoning in celibacy. He observes celibacy, living apart, abstaining from the vulgar practice, and so on. So now, this is part of the sutta. You see, it's part for monastics, but part is for lay people. Now, you took the precept of not killing. Do you kill? No. What do you take it? You don't kill. You know yourself you don't kill. Why do you have to take it every morning? Because we have to focus on the positive side of that precept. What's the positive side of the precept? Yes. No, the positive side is loving kindness, compassion, preserving life, and all that. That's why we have to repeat, though we repeat this precept in a negative form, but actually we expect to practice the positive side also. Not only sleeping in bed, oh, I'm not killing anything, I'm fine. You see, the Buddha's teaching has 3 levels. And I think it's very, very important to know this. What's the Buddha's teaching? Doing no evil, doing what's good, and purify your mind. So we take one precept, the first precept, and we put it in those 3 angles. Otherwise, we are practicing Buddha's teaching, a third of it, not the 2/3. Okay, you take the precept. I heard you taking it. Is that the end? No, you have 2 more to go. In that precept, you have 2 more things to do. What are they? Do what's good. What's good in that precept? Preserve life. Protect life. Isn't it? That's what is doing what's good. Conserve life, practice loving kindness and compassion. Is that all? If you are to practice Buddha's teaching? No. We have to purify the mind. Using that precept, the same precept, we have to do what? Purify our mind. How are we going to purify our mind? Using that precept. By taking shampoo and wash. Some people are very creative. They can think of purification by going in water and wash, take a shower. No. Here we have to practice what we call Sila Anusati. Sila Anusati. Sila Anusati. Sati means mindfulness, reflecting. Anu means along. And then Sila means ethical conduct. So you reflect along with your precepts, your generosity, your loving kindness. So that's how you practice Buddha's teaching. Otherwise, taking precept, panatipata veramanisika padam, and adinadana veramanisika padam. You speak very good Pali. I heard it from my room. But that's not the end of the teaching. That's not the what? The end. You have to remember Buddha's teaching. This is what the Buddha teach. All the Buddhas, that's what they teach. They teach abstaining from evil, doing what's good, and purify the mind. So if it's 5 precepts, times what? 3, 15. That means you have taken precepts. According in my book anyway. I don't know about you. So now we go to the second precept. Abandoning. The second precept is about abandoning taking what's not given. He abstains from taking what's not given. Taking only what's given. Expecting only what's given. By not stealing, he holds in purity. Now, you are not stealing in Singapore. Why did you take this precept? So what's the opposite of stealing? Generosity. Practice generosity. Now, if 3 times, I told you every time you have to practice 3 times. Okay? Abstaining from taking what's not given. What should you do? Be generous. Be grateful. Be contented. Contentment also is 3 kinds of contentment. Contentment with what's available. Contentment with what's suitable. Contentment with what within your means. Right? What's within your means. The contentment is 3 times. Right? So if you want to be contented with your clothes, that's only one thing, times 3. So, me, I'm contented with my robe. It's within my means. It's suitable for me. I don't know about you. It's suitable for me. Contentment 3 times. Within one means, with what's it's available also. You made it available for me. Isn't it? And also, it's within my means. So this is very, very important. Now, is that enough? No, we have to practice sila and nusati. That means reflect along on your generosity. Like today, you are very generous. You came here to listen to the Dhamma. You came here, you are going to offer food. So, when you offer food, then you reflect along with your generosity. So, you sit down, say, wow, I offered 1 banana to Bhante. That's very good. Actually, this is very good thing to do, right? And then you sit down. That means you are completing all Buddha's teaching. Abstaining from evil, doing what's good, and purify your mind. Because when you're thinking, I offered 1 banana to Bhante, you are not thinking about other things, right? You're not thinking about evil things, isn't it? At the same time, at least. Are we together? Yeah, this is what you should do, actually. For me, when I go through suttas, I don't want to repeat suttas like parrots. We want to relate this sutta in what we can practice. Very practical stuff we can do. It's very important. Okay, now we go to abandoning false speech. He abstains from false speech. He speaks truth, adheres to truth, is trustworthy and reliable. Reliable. You remember? Last time when I gave a talk, the ability to tell a lie is a what? Who remembers? Is a liability. So in the sutta here, the Buddha is talking about is reliable. Reliable. One who is no deceiver of the world. Abandoning malicious speech, he abstains from malicious speech. He does not repeat elsewhere what he has heard here in order to divide those people from this. Nor does he repeat to those people what he has heard elsewhere in order to divide people from those. Thus, he is one who unites those who are divided. So you speak in a way that you actually unite people who are divided. You bring them together. A promoter of friendship who enjoys concord, rejoices in concord, delights in concord, a speaker of words that promote concord, Abandoning harsh speech, he abstains from harsh speech. He speaks such words that are gentle, pleasing to the ears. In fact, in Australia, I met Sri Lankan there, and when you give a Dhamma talk, they do like this. That means whatever you talked is pleasant to the ears, right? I don't know what they say if they are unpleasant. Let's say if they listen to a Dhamma talk and it's unpleasant, maybe it's like this. Okay, I don't know. I'll ask them. Do we have Sri Lankan here? No, not yet. Okay, I'll ask what happened, the opposite. Okay, we have abandoned harsh speech. Okay, harsh speech, he abstains from harsh speech. He speaks such words that are gentle, pleasing to the ears, and lovable, as go to the heart. They go to the heart, and courteous, desired by many, and agreeable to many. Abandoning gossiping, he abstains from gossiping, and then he speaks on at the right time. Speak what's the fact. Speaks on what's good. Speaks on the Dhamma and the discipline. At the right time, he speaks such speech words as worth a recording, reasonable, moderate, and beneficial. My friend, is that what you speak? Is that the way you speak? Please tell me. Now, today, I'm going to consolidate the kind of speech you should speak. Consolidate. That's why you have this board. We are going to borrow something from the Buddha. We are going to borrow. You see, when suttas are there, you need to consolidate them. We have to borrow from one sutta which is called Abharaja Kumara Sutta. The sutta to the princess. Oh, what is that? Do you have a mic which is a... okay. Hello? Yes. Now, today, in case you've been reading suttas and wondering, you've been breathing in, breathing out, but still when it comes to speaking, you blow it out of proportion. You know, so many people have been practicing here for a long time, but still, when it comes to speaking, it goes haywire. I've been on a cushion for a long time. They do a retreat here, there, and there, over here in Uganda, everywhere. But when it comes to applying mindfulness, because this is where we can see whether we are applying mindfulness or not in speaking. Doesn't matter how many retreats you have done, but to come out of the mouth. So today, we are going to figure it out. We are going to consolidate all this, all right? So now we are going to talk about which kind of speech the Buddha speaks. It is going to look like mathematics, but don't worry. This is too big. The body is so small. Let me make it smaller, I think. Tathagata, the name of the Buddha, he said there are some 6 speeches, but he speaks only 2 out of the 6. That's why we're going, right? So I hope you follow the Tathagata, the Buddha. If you want to be peaceful, you're going to follow the Buddha. Okay? These is like potatoes. No good. No good. Okay, it's okay, no problem. Don't worry about my art. What about the message? What's the message behind it? Because if it was big, actually, oh good. If it was big board, okay. There are how many? 2, 3. Okay, actually 2, 3. There are 4 kinds of speech the Buddha cannot utter. There are 6 of them. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Today you are going to figure out which speech you should speak, and then you have no problem from today, right? From today on, you have no problem. Now, according to that discourse, I'm going to combine it with another discourse which is called Abhaya Kumara, and put it together and have what we call a model, right speech model. Right speech model. Speech model. Speech model. Model. Today you're going to figure it out. Okay? First, if the speech is untrue, I'm going to use a minus. Okay? Which will mean untrue. Which means untrue. Please, this is not mathematics, eh? If you feel it's mathematics, I will say, right, I put this negative sign here. Maybe I write. You'll tell me that, let me say untrue. Because other people will say, oh, this is mathematics and I hate mathematics. But I just put this minus, to me it's untrue, to make sure that it fits into this gap. Right? If it's incorrect, which is incorrect, incorrect, and then if it's unbeneficial, you see, but if you don't choose me, I will just say minus B, minus C, but I want to make it okay that way. Okay, now, this is welcome, and this is, this is agreeable. This is agreeable. This is the opposite of here. It's not welcome, unwelcome, and then disagreeable. All right. So now, today we are going to add more. Today, first time also I'm doing it, we are going to add more here. But it's too small. What can I do? Okay, unkind. This is according to the Sutta Abhaya Raja Kumara, but what I'm adding is from other suttas. Unkind, like right speech. Unkind and not harmonious, divisive. Not unharmonious. I want to make sure everything is unharmonious. Okay. Unbeneficial, we can also talk about meaningless. So, the Buddha doesn't speak this kind of speech. This kind of speech, the Buddha doesn't speak. What's welcome and agreeable, untrue, incorrect, unbeneficial, unkind, unharmonious. That one the Buddha doesn't speak, and also you shouldn't speak. All right? Okay? Did we get? Okay, now this kind of speech, unwelcome, disagreeable, incorrect, untrue, unbeneficial, unkind, unharmonious, the Buddha doesn't speak. You shouldn't speak the same. Are we together? Okay, now that's finished. We go to the same thing. Now, I think to be fair, this should be a bigger circle because it's overwritten. Let me make a big circle. Big circle, okay, big circle. Okay, I'm going to rub it afterwards, okay? So now the Buddha, untrue, same. Incorrect? No, let's do like this. Let's do this like this. True, correct, kind, harmonious, harmonious, kind, beneficial, no, unbeneficial, all right? So, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is what's changing here, all right? And beneficial, I mean, it's the same. All these are changing, but this one is the same as this. So now this welcome, agreeable, unwelcome, and disagreeable. The Buddha doesn't speak also this kind of speech. You shouldn't speak also that. 3 and 4. So in other words, we are going to put a paper here. Buddha doesn't speak something which is true, correct, kind, harmonious, welcome, agreeable, and beneficial. So long as there's an element of unbeneficial, the Buddha doesn't bother. Right? Very, very important. Are we together? Now we go on this side. The Buddha doesn't speak something which is unwelcome, disagreeable, even if it's true, correct, kind, harmonious, and beneficial. The Buddha doesn't speak that. Are we together? You shouldn't speak also that. You should also put this diagram on your fridge, refrigerator, in your bed. And then you're going to see how you're going to change your world if you follow this kind of speech. It's, again, according to the Buddha, I'm going to rub some of this. It's unwelcome, 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 not good writing, unwelcome, unwelcome, disagreeable. Now, what kind of speech we can speak? We can speak. What kind? What kind? We are going to remove this now. Are you ready? I'm going to remove and show you the 2 kinds of speech we should speak. I'm going to remove all this now. Should I remove? Yes, yes. Speech number. This one should speak. Right, speech model. Speech number 5 and number 6. We should speak. What should we speak? What is true? What's what? Correct, according to facts. Right? What is? Kind. What is? Harmonious, not divisive. Harmonious. What is? Beneficial. Beneficial. Meaningful, in other words, meaningful, not blah, 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 blah. Sampapalapa. We call it sampapalapa. Blah, 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 blah. And in my country, also we have this kind of speech. It's called palapalanya. Palapalanya. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should speak something which is welcome. Welcome, and it should be agreeable. Agreeable. That one we should speak. No problem. Never reserve. No reservation. You should speak. You have to check whether it's welcome, agreeable, true, correct, kind, harmonious, speech, and then bubble out someone. However, there is a caveat here. Caveat. You should speak at the proper time. Proper time. Very important. Proper time. Suitable time. Suitable. Suitable. Suitable time. Suitable. Suitable time. Time which is suitable. Why? Because the purpose might fine, but is it suitable? Is it suitable in terms of time and place? Place. This is not given a sutta. Time is given, but I'll add also place. Okay, on this side, number 5, what speech should you speak? This one speech also you can speak. Unwelcome. Okay, something is true and all this, but no, people are not welcome. They say, no. Many people actually like this. Something is true, correct, kind, harmonious, beneficial. No, I don't like to hear what Bhante is saying. One time I was giving a talk actually in the USA, and there was a listener who was pregnant. And I was speaking what is true, correct, and all that. I say, birth is suffering, aging is suffering, death is suffering. He said, no, birth is not suffering. And then, after a while, 5 days retreat ending, And she was crying. I said, why are you crying? He said, Bhante, you're right. When I was speaking, it was unwelcome. But actually, it's true. It's fact. I had to speak. Do you think when I give a Dhamma talk and the Buddha said birth is suffering, and I said because there's somebody who's pregnant, then I say, no, birth is not suffering? No, it would not be true. Okay, and also disagreeable. Disagreeable. Now, with this kind of speech also you have to wait at the right time. Why should you wait at the right time? In fact, the Buddha uses this kind of speech. He talked to angry Mala. He says it's going to be in Avicii, hell. Yeah. So he talks about rebuke, kind of say, Mogla Tisa, Putta, means empty-headed. For people who misunderstand his teaching, he said this man is empty-handed. He misunderstood my teaching. So the Buddha would use that at the right time, but there's one other thing. Out of compassion, you should speak this. Out of compassion. He speak for this one out of compassion, and this one, this kind of speak for the welfare. If somebody are going to speak, if you want to speak and happiness, welfare and happiness, if something that you are, even if it's unwelcome and disagreeable, but it's true, correct, kind, and beneficial. So if you know that it's going to lead to somebody's welfare and happiness, then you can do it. That is actually a very interesting simile in Abhayaraja Kumara when a baby swallows something like a pin or a pebble. When the baby is swallowing that, is your baby. And then you see that it's going to lead to suffering. Do you just leave the baby alone? No. You go with your finger, boom, in the mouth. The Buddha said, even if it means drawing blood, you get it out. It's unwelcome, it's disagreeable, but it's true, correct, kind, harmonious, and beneficial. So you do it for the welfare of your baby. You remove it and throw away. You don't want the baby to swallow the pin is still here. The safety pin or pebble or stone or stick is been swallowed. It's still here. You can see. And then you don't say, I love my baby. And you know that if it goes down, it's going to have a problem. So what do? You actually get it, even if it means that the baby has to cry. Because why? It's for the welfare, for compassion. Friends, this is the spiritual speech. Why do we have to use right time? Right time is very important. That's where mindfulness comes in. Most of the time, we're not mindful when we are speaking. So we don't know when to speak. How to speak, when to speak, what to speak. And many times, it's not so much about what we speak, but even how we speak is very important. How we speak is very, very important. So I will spend more time on this because it's a model that I've evolved. I've consolidated everywhere where the Buddha talks about speech and consolidate it in this model. I hope you get it. Okay, so we go. It's a combination of two suttas. Come up with a model. Okay, we go to the discourse. It continues. I don't need this. The discourse continues. Sorry. The discourse continues. Okay. What do we abstain from? Wrong speech. Abstain. What should we do? Right speech. And then, what should we do in the third category? Purify our mind. How do we purify our mind? At the end of the day, wow, I spoke these words with loving kindness. I had no anger when I was speaking. And then you reflect along that thing. Your mind become happy. When the mind become happy, the mind become concentrated. And then when the mind is concentrated, that means you're purifying your mind. So, you see how you're doing things? Complete teaching, not only half, taking one precept. You take one precept. Musa vada wera manisika padam samadhiyami. Done. I'm a good Buddhist. No. We should consolidate Buddha's teaching, all right? Okay, we continue. Okay. He abstains from injuring seeds and plants. I think this is more of course, monastic precepts is abstaining from garlands and sitting on high seats, abstaining from these errands and all these things. This is actually pretty much monastic precepts, but I think if we stop on number 5, that should be good. So we go to the next part of the discourse. It's about training your senses. It's called sense restraint, using mindfulness. We have how many senses? 5 or 6? According to your biology, I think you study 6. In every school, we study about 5. But the Buddha talks about 6. So these 6 senses are very, very important if we are to realize Buddha's teaching. What are the 6? Nose, hearing, what else? Touching, and then thinking, mind. So now, whenever we are seeing something, what should we do if we are to restrain our senses? Should we close our eyes, our ears? Today, actually, the whole night, there was something going on there. It's quite something going on there. So I had to practice 6 sense restraint. Hearing. Every time I hear noise and sound, it was going on until midnight, I think. So just become aware of hearing. So when we do that, we are training our mind. We are removing mental defilements. Other than having what you call aversion towards sound, we are just going to be aware, just hearing. That's all what's going on. The rest is commentary. I don't like this music. I like it. All this is just you, not them. So what we have to do is to be mindful. Whenever we are seeing something, we become mindful of seeing, of hearing, tasting, like this. That's how we do it. All senses, we should try to be mindful about that. So we go to the discourse more part of the discourse. He becomes one who acts in full awareness when going forward, running. In other words, in all activities we are enjoying to practice mindfulness. Even mindfulness of talking. This is what it talks about. It talks about being full awareness when walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep. Falling asleep. Mindfulness when you are falling asleep. So this is a very interesting area. You want to find out before you sleep whether you sleep on out breath or in breath. That will be your practice. Yes, you have to challenge yourself sometime, because this is what we see here, to be mindful when you are falling asleep. So you should be able to remember that now, I'm sleeping on in breath. And when you wake up, I woke up on out breath. That's very interesting. It's possible, isn't it? The Buddha, you see, when Buddha was very clear about his teaching, he said that if it's impossible, I will not teach you what's impossible. But because it's possible, I teach you what's possible. So let's try today before you go sleep. And Buddha said that please abandon what's unskillful, because if it was not possible, I will not teach you. Everything that you see here is actually possible. Just you have to try. Another mindfulness, when waking up and also when talking. So now, most of us, we know mindfulness of breathing in, breathing out. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. That's what we know. When we talk, we forget mindfulness on our seat. We are not mindful when we are talking. We are not mindfulness of what's coming out of our mouth. So this practice of mindfulness should go anywhere. It should go also when you are talking. Spend time to think about what you are talking. Have you heard about it's a proverb which says, think twice before you say something? Have you heard about that? Is that what we practice? We always think twice before we say something? There is another proverb, a Russian proverb. It's a Russian proverb. It says that before you talk, roll your tongue 11 times. So, try. That's called buying time. For sure. Of course, the tongue is going to be exhausted, tired. When somebody says something, Bhante, come and eat. After the 11th time, yes, thank you very much, I'm coming. I like it very much, this kind of thing, because most of the time we say things that we shouldn't be talking. And we regret. There's even a proverb which says that I've never regretted being in silence. When you're in silence for 1 hour and all that, after that, you know regret. Most of the regret, worry, fear is what you've said. After putting the word there, you cannot bring it back. In fact, as a young man, I had a guideline that I have 3 things that I'm working on. 3 things that I'm working on. Very challenging things. Things which are very challenging. 3 things. 1 is a said word. Once you say a word, you cannot bring it back. Can you? No, I said this is a challenge. So I'm going to be very careful before I say a word, because I know I'm not going to bring it back. So the next challenge I had is an opportunity, a neglected opportunity. You see, when you neglect an opportunity, it's gone. So I do my best to seize every opportunity that is available for me. So then another one is a speeding arrow. Speeding arrow, but I don't use arrows. But for the sake of completion, just to remind you that once you release the arrow, you never bring it back. Because, sorry, bring it back. Now, we can now substitute the arrow with email message. Once you click send, done. Actually, before, there was a server, which is called America Online. It would keep it actually for 2 minutes. But I don't know if we still have that facility now. Do we still have that facility? No, that's a challenge for me. So before I click send, I have to read again. Because I know once I send, I cannot, bring it back. It will be traveling in Pacific Ocean, coming to, what's the ocean between Uganda and Singapore? Indian Ocean. Now I want to send an email to Sister Eileen or Brother Edmond. And then I click send. Within 1 second, he has it. I can't say, sorry, Brother Edmond, I didn't intend this. No, it's gone. So that we can put it as part of our challenge, a send email. Because now we don't have arrows and bows. So we have to update that one. So I have 3 challenges. A message, email, send email, and then a said word and opportunity. It's very, very important. So this is very, very important. 2, be mindful of what you're talking. The last one is called mindfulness when you're keeping silence. That's a challenge. The Buddha is setting up for a challenge here. When you are silent, you have to be also mindful. Keeping silence. So now, as we observe silence, what you are going to see, especially when you're in meetings, when you're talking to other people, there will be a moment of silence. But this is very scary for most people. Because when you keep silence, there's that urge to talk. There's urge. You feel like an urge to talk. Something pushing you to talk. And then you have to take a deep breath and pass that word. Let me be silent. I was born as a Christian. There is a saying in Christianity. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth so that you can listen more and talk less. Remember this. Now I made it a Buddhist. Nature, not Buddha, nature gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth so that you can listen more and talk less. So in other words, be twice as much as a listener. Let's say if there's a talk going on, make sure that you spend 50% talking and 100% listening. Don't do it the other way around. So that means you have more time to be mindful of silence. To be mindful of silence. In our business meeting before I became a monk, we used to have always someone who was keeping silence to remind us the importance of silence. So we'll have a meeting for maybe 15 people, 20 people. We'll choose 2 people. If the meeting is for 1 hour, we'll choose 2 people. One of them, as soon as we start the meeting, they will be keeping silence. For the rest of 30 minutes, they will be silent. Blah, 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 this and this, meetings, This, we haven't put a roof here, we haven't invited Bhante, blah, blah, this. People will be just talking. And then this person will be quiet. Listen. We say that he's holding the space. He's holding the what? The space. And then after 30 minutes, and then he will open the eyes. And then he will hand on the baton to the second person. The second person will now hold the space. So that means in our meeting there will be 2 people who didn't talk at all. At least for 30 minutes. This is a very good model. I think you can apply it. Because it reminds us actually that there's communication beyond words. Do you know that many things they don't speak? Monkeys, they don't speak. How do they communicate? Babies, they don't speak. How do they communicate? The baby, they will put across their message if they want. Especially when they're hungry. They will tell you. So most of the communication actually is very important, but there's a lot of things which are unsaid words. It's through signs, through body language, and science itself. It's very important. Okay, we continue with the discourse. Discourse goes about abandoning hindrances. Abandoning hindrances. All right. So it talks about, silence. Possessing the aggregate of noble virtue and this noble restraint of faculties, sense faculties, and possessing this noble mindfulness and full awareness, he resorts to a secluded place, resting place, the foot of the forest, the root of tree, the mountain, and so on. On returning from his arms round, food, after his meal, he sits down, folding his legs, cross-legged, setting the body erect, and establishing mindfulness before him, abandoning covetousness for the world, and he abides with the mind free from covetousness, and he purifies the mind from covetousness. So this is about purifying your mind from 5 hindrances. What are the 5 hindrances? Sensual desires, ill will, restlessness and worry, sloth and torpor, and doubt. So this discourse enjoins us to overcome these 5 hindrances. How do we do that? Through mindfulness. We make the hindrance the object of our meditation. Let's say when you have ill will comes, you start blaming others. When you have anger, let's say if you have ill will or aversion towards the sound that's coming, you start blaming those people. Is that how to do it? No. You become mindful of aversion, which is arising in your mind. The sound is just triggering what's in the mind already. Isn't it? Yeah, it's just a trigger. So even if you make that sound go and stop it, will your aversion be there in your mind or not? It will be still there, but it's in a dormant form. It's in latent form. So we could stop that sound, but actually we haven't done our work. We haven't cleaned our minds. So we need to clean our mind by observing, being mindful of the hindrance. Maybe if it's anger, we come away with anger. If it's restlessness, we become aware of restlessness. So the discourse continues. Having thus abandoned these 5 hindrances, imperfections of the mind that weakens wisdom, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states of mind, which is the hindrances, he enters and abides in the first jhana. So this is actually jhanic states, right? Meditative absorptions. They are numbered up to 8, but here in the discourse they give 4. And those one is actually a more refined state of abandoning mental disturbances or hindrances. So in the first case, you abandon the 5 hindrances, and then you attain the first jhana, and then you gain some of what we call jhanic factors. That means initial application of thought, sustained application of thought, joy, happiness, like this. So the more you practice, the more you abandon the gross part of these jhanic factors, like initial application of thought and sustained application of thought. You abandon it, then you go in the second jhana. Then you abandon the third jhana, you abandon joy because more gross. Again, you attain the third jhana. Then you are in the fourth jhana, you abandon even happiness, what you call pleasure, and then you again the fourth jhana. So that's the process. So now we continue with the discourse. The discourse continues like this. When his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to impartability, he directs it to knowledge of the recollection of past life. There's 3 kinds of knowledges we call tevijja. 3 kinds of knowledge. The discourse is talking about it. So the sutta goes on and on, but I can tell you this knowledge is one is to recollect your past life. You can say, I've been here, I've been to Uganda. Let's say you're a Singaporean. You can say, I was in Uganda, in such a village. So you can tell your past life. Right? That's one of the 3 knowledges. Another one is you can see what's called the passing and the reappearing of beings according to their past karmas. This is the knowledge that the Buddha possessed. And also knowledge of the Four Noble Truth. So the sutta ends up like that. In interest of time, I'd like to tell you how the sutta ends, and then you will know that once you actually overcome what we call tenets, that's when you can say, yes, the Buddha is self-enlightened and the Dhamma is well expanded, and then the Sangha are practicing very well. Because, why do we have to say that? In other teaching outside Buddhism, they also have jhanas. They have also tevijja, actually, the 3 knowledges. But they are not, actually, they are actually mundane. But here is super mundane. That's when you attain enlightenment. And once you attain enlightenment, only then you can tell that the Buddha is self-awakened. So I'm going to just read one passage here. When his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attain to impartability, he directs it to knowledge of the destruction of the tenets. He understands as it actually is. This is suffering. This is the origin of suffering. This is the cessation of suffering. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. These are the tenets. These are the origin of tenets. These are the cessation of tenets. This is the way leading to the cessation of tenets. So these two Brahmins is called a footprint of the Tathagata, something scraped by the Tathagata, something marked by the Tathagata. But a noble disciple still has not yet come to the conclusion, the blessed one, the blessed one is fully enlightened. The Dhamma is well proclaimed by the blessed one. The Sangha is practicing the good way. Rather, he is in the process of coming to this conclusion. So now, when the last passage is going to tell you exactly what happened when you have the conclusion, is when he knows and sees thus, the mind is liberated from the taints of sensual desire, from the taints of being, from the taints of ignorance. When it's liberated, there comes to be knowledge. It's liberated. He understands birth is destroyed, the whole life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There has no more coming to any state of being. That's when somebody is liberated, has done their homework. So I hope you are going to do your homework. You finish your work. How are we going to finish our work? Can we recap? How are we going to finish our work? We are going to recap the next 5 minutes because I have to end at 1:45. Okay, how are we going to finish our work? Because this is how we finish our work and say, yes, this is the Tathagata, what you call the footprint of the elephant. What's the work? Virtue, speech. You remember the speech? What kind of speech we should do? You can read now because we are concluding together. What kind of speech? Uh-huh. 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 And when should you speak that? Right time. And why? Why right time? Out of compassion. Out of compassion for? Time is it enough? No. Also place. Because you must speak something true to your maybe child and they have their peers there. And then why didn't you lay your bed? And the school children came to visit your child. And then you'll be embarrassed that he's not laying the bed. Wait until other people go and then tell them. Actually, this is the best way to do. If you have to do anything, try to get somebody out of the crowd and say, I didn't like the way you said it. Now you can even put me out of the crowd. You say, Bhante, I didn't like the way you said it. You can't do that. I'm not going to be offended. Be the Buddha. Never say you can challenge the Buddha. Right? Now, what other speech should we do on the other side? Another side. Should we speak that or not? Yes, but what? Why? And welfare and happiness for that being. I've given a simile of the baby with a what? A pebble. How you could get it out. Because you don't want that person to suffer. So even if it means to draw blood, you can actually do it because it's for the welfare of the child. So that pretty much summarizes it with virtue, with restraint, sensual restraint, with mindfulness and alertness when you're talking, when you're doing everything in life. Everything is only time when you don't practice mindfulness and alertness is when you are doing what? Sleeping. When you are dreaming, sleeping, you are excused by the Buddha, not by me. But as soon as you wake up, mindfulness should be activated. So before you sleep, you should have mindfulness, and as soon as you wake up. Okay, another one, mindfulness of hindrances. Another one, attaining jhanas, and 3 knowledges, and then distract all the tents, and then you can say now you've done your homework. You've finished your work. No more coming to Singapore. The work has done. Can you imagine, wake up one day, you see, I've finished my work? You look at how, when we have some projects, like building a temple, we have something to do, building a house, or buying a car, or getting married, and say, yes, I'm married. No more marriage. Maybe not. Maybe sometime when things go wrong. Now, finishing a house and say, I've finished my house. taking children to school and they get the university degree, and then you say, I've done my work. How do you feel? Let's say you have children. They go to the university. Now they are married. They have their job and all this. I've done my work. So now this is the time to declare that I've done my work through the practice of virtue. You remember how we practice virtue? In 3 ways. Non panati pata veramanisika padam, and then put this precept down there. No. I had you in my room. How did we set this time? We are just recapping, just for fun of it. When we practice the precept, what should we do? 3 times. 3 times following the Buddha's teaching. The template of Buddha's teaching is abstaining from evil, doing what's good, purifying the mind. So we just recap one more time. If there's a precept, let's say, of not lying, not tell lies, or there's a precept of not taking what's not given. In 3 ways, how do we practice it? In 3 ways. Abstaining from stealing, generosity. What's the third? Sila. This word you should remember actually, because most people don't do this. I should write it. This is not what people do actually. I don't know. Should I write this? No, I think I write it here. I have a corner here. This word you should understand. Sila. Sila anusati. Anu sati. This word you should remember. Sila anusati, that means mindfulness. This means along with your sila. That means the whole word you should reflect the 3rd stage of your practice to purify your mind. You should be mindful of your sila. Right? This one you should do it. Abstain from evil, doing what's good, and mindfulness of what you've done. How are we going to practice mindfulness, what we've done? We just reflect. Since 2 years, I've never taken what's not given. Since last month, since last minute, I've been very generous. All right? You reflect, I'm very generous. It's not faking it until you make it. Most of you are very generous. But you don't think about it. You're not mindful of your generosity. You do generosity, that's fine. But when are you bringing your mindfulness to that generosity? Only what I see people when they come, as soon as they sit to meditate, anapanasari. They sleep. The mind is not interested in the breath. But how about when you come to meditate? Since last hour I've not killed. Since last hour I've not tell lie. Since last hour I was not drunk. Since 1 hour, if it's 1 hour is too much. Since last minute. I'm telling you, it's amazing how when you boil it down to 1 minute, the mind is going to be happy. The mind has been preserving life. The mind has been very generous. You've been very kind. You've been telling harmonious speech and all these things. You've been telling harmonious speech. You've been here for almost 45 minutes. Reflect on that. Then before you go to meditate, now you're going to have a smile. A smile like this. And then when you breathe like this, it's like a cruise. Your breath is very clear. Before you're wrestling with it, because the mind doesn't want to watch the breath. The mind is somewhere in a meeting somewhere. Australia or somewhere. Is remembering something fun, and you bring it here on the nose. It's not interested in your nose. It's not interested. So do we know how to meditate now? By what? Okay, thank you very much. That's enough. Okay, good.
Thank you very much, Bhante. Brothers and sisters, Bhante has to go for the lunch right now, so there is no question and answer. Let us be in Anjali position, and let us say sadhu 3 more times and pay 3 respect to Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Wow.
Okay, I'll take your questions next time.